Okay, so the next thing we're going to have to do on this is pop down a flat coat. Now, I'm not going to put these burner cans on because I want them to be still quite shiny for the minute. Also, it's going to have 2 flat coats. Now, I know some people have had trouble with it. I use the Extra Acrylics flat varnish. The reason I like it is that you can vary the amount of flatness with it depending on how much you thin it and with your air pressure. Now, for this one here, what I've actually done is I popped in a 0.4 needle in here, which is a more common needle that perhaps more of you might have. This is very high air pressure. We're actually running at about 35 psi, 30, well it's actually about 32 as an average there. Now, you can mix this with water, but I prefer to use thinners, acrylic thinners. Now, I've got Tamiya thinners here, and I've also got their own thinners, the Extra Acrylics thinners. They work exactly the same on their thinners. So, you know, it doesn't really matter at all. I wouldn't recommend using water with it though. So the first problem is getting the top off. Now, make sure it's been mixed well, because you do get lumps. Now, if you get lumps, those lumps will go through your airbrush with a bigger needle and then flick and leave speckles all over your model. So you could filter your actual paint as well, your actual flat coat as well. Now, for this one, we're going to start off and just give it a normal flat coat. So we've mixed it there about 75% flat base to probably about sort of 25% thinners. So we give that a good mix. And make sure it does have a good mix. If you are getting some spitting, it could be that you've got actual lumps in your flow. So sometimes, I know a couple of you contacted me about it actually getting like a speckly finish on your paintwork. There's 2 things that are happening. It's either drying before it's getting to your model, so i.e. from the time it takes to get from your end of your nozzle to here, it's dry and it's leaving a finish like sandpaper, which is probably one of the biggest problems you can get doing washes and finishes. Now, if it's a nice even type of thing, you're getting close to what we call a dead flat coat, which means it is completely, there's no shine to it whatsoever. But that is something we're going to do in a moment. Once this model's completely finished, I'm going to give it a dead coat to kill the entire thing afterwards. But for the minute, we're going to pop a flat coat on so we can do a little bit more weathering to a few little areas. So, as I say, 25% thinners to 75%. We're running about 30 psi as an average. It's looking 35 on the dial, but it will drop to about sort of 30 when it's actually being used. I'm going to keep the airbrush, the compressor running at all times, because I want maximum air pressure. As I say, it's the point. This is the 0.4 needle, but it's quite happily do that with anything lower. So we check our flow. We're quite happy with it, and then all we'll do, I'll do it as best as I can here without blowing everything off my desk. Air first, and then just go your flat coat. Nice, gentle coat everywhere first. Alright. Everywhere like that. Now the first things you're going to notice, one is it'll look like a powdery type of finish, but your other thing as well, what you're trying to do is hide those, where your decals are, they've got a slight lifted edge. By giving it a flat coat you can hide it, just build up those layers over the decals, and as you can see them standing out, just keep popping more and more flat over it, and you'll build up a nice little layer to hide them in. As I say, keep your airbrush pressure up, and that will help you out no end. And as you can see already, we're losing, you know, the shine you can see on the camera there, we're losing it already. Obviously, make sure you've gone round and you're happy with there's no silvering on your decals, because this is going to be the last chance where you can do it, because at the moment you can probably get a bit of flat coat here and do it. Now I've just run out of there and I'm holding this wing, so what I'm going to do now is just finish the other side. Now, being acrylic, it's basically dry straight away, but don't handle it too much because obviously the heat from your fingers will actually melt the actual flat you've put on and you end up with fingerprints and that, so it's best to leave it for a couple of hours to totally go hard. Now the thing is, if you're using a wash, you might find some areas now that you can see. For instance, I've got a little bit down here. Now, though this has got a flat coat on, because it's just on, you should be able to just still rub that wash off, because the wash underneath should come through. And you'll just about still be able to get it out at this point. So you get it out just like that. But there are just little areas where you might think, oh look, you know, got a bit of wash there, could do with getting that out again. So you can go around and take care of those points now. But as you can see, we've totally changed the finish now, and I hope you can see actually the weathering we've done on this top to sort of get it all to blend in and not like a grey bricks quite, you know, will work quite well. At the moment, I would say this is sort of a near flat finish, getting on near to a dead flat finish. Obviously, if we give this a complete dead flat finish, what we'll actually do, we'll give it a coat of this neat, very high air pressure, very dusty coat, and it will make it look completely pastel type finish, which is quite nice. But as you can see, it brings all those panel lines and everything to life even. Like that. So now really we're into sort of final assembly. We can pop things like these, the afterburner cans on. There's a little tab which goes in the back here which shows where they go. Personally, I cut them off because I like to pick the best bit of the actual nozzle to fit. So there we go, that's one nozzle on there. And then we just got to get that one in like that. Just need to work that one in a little bit. That's it, there he goes. But as you can see, where we haven't put the flat coat on this rear can, I don't know if you can see, but it's a lot more shiny, and it's just that thing, a little bit of tonal difference as we were saying, but I hope you can see there, it really brings those exhausts to life and really gives it a nice effect. We've still got to put a few little bits, we've got the little air vents to go in the back here, obviously we've got to sort out pylons and other bits and pieces. But now we're basically into final assembly. We can get the lantern pods on, we've got to do the pylons, little silver bits, all the little areas, and really just running around and finishing it off now. Okay, so now we're into the sort of final stages of the assembly now. As you can see, let's close that a bit. As you can see, we've got the undercarriage on and the doors are on. Now the thing is, because this one's obviously going to be going overseas, it's a commission, I haven't actually fixed the undercarriages in permanently. They're good enough for a push fit, but they're very straightforward. You've just got your front part here, glues onto your rear. In some ways easier to poke it in first, then line it all up, then glue it all afterwards, but it's very, very straightforward, so we don't need to talk about that. And then obviously from my point of view, I can poke it in there and it's good enough to hold. Same with the front well. All I've actually done, I hook this up, as you can see, and I built it in one piece because, again, I need it to come apart for transportation. When it gets to the customer's end, he can then just, with a couple of drops of super glue, put it all together. Obviously you've got the larger light on the bottom, the smaller on the top. I painted the backs black, looking at references, you can see those, and what we'll do for our final things, we're going to give a couple of gloss coats onto the lenses just to really make them sparkle and come to life a bit more. We've unmasked, which is obviously another giant milestone. The clarity, to tell you the truth, isn't as good, so what I'm going to have to do is actually repolish that. But that's that. But you see the front part's off now, and we're really coming to life. Other parts I've put on, I'm just about to install the last one down here, this little vent on the back. It's a bit of a tight fit getting them in and everything else just down here. I'll bring you in a touch, I'll show you what I mean. A bit easier. As I say, it's this one here now, it's these little ones that sort of flip on the back here, which actually go on. Now the thing is, they have a peg mark which is way too big for the hole that's in there, so it's easier just to slice it off, and then all I do, I put a drop of glue just on the rear edge, just on the rear part, just down here. So in this case I'm actually using super glue that you can actually push it in the hole, slide it into position exactly where you want it, and then you can push down to hold, and that's it, job's done. I've also put the hook on the back, which is another thing, straightforward, straight in. Then really the next big job is putting all the bomb racks on. I've painted these on the sprue already. I literally just sprayed them all on the sprue last night. Because they're silver, it's best to give them a nice long time to dry. But what we're going to do now, with a drop of super glue, or you can use your normal glue, just position each one in turn exactly how they are, and then afterwards we might just pop around with a bit of dry brushing just to dirty them up a bit. But that's very straightforward as well. Sorry about the voice, but I'm suffering with a bit of a flu today that's sort of come out of nowhere. And that's it. The other thing to take note is I've actually, at the front here, I've chopped off the front antenna. It comes with a square blade one. Obviously for the new ones, they have a larger, more slanted back type there. We've obviously got to put the GPS antenna on the other side, but I'm going to do that last as well, which is quite a very straightforward, easy tip, but I'll show you how to do that one. So I'm just going to get these bits all done, and all the hard points on, and we'll join you in a moment. Right, that's all the hard points on. Please excuse me. What we're going to do now is obviously just going to show you this bit of staining around the rear end here. Now for that I'm going to be using the mud wash, because it's got quite a nice way of doing it. So if we just get you in the camera angle right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is just take your mud, give it a shake or a stir, whichever you're going to do. Okay, now you get all those bubbles at the top. So what you actually do, take your thin brush, okay, and then put a line using the bubbles, not the actual wash itself, along the top like that. Okay, grab a Q-tip or a cotton bud and just drag it down like so. Now I don't know how well you can actually see that, how well that came out, but you get, as you see at the top there, that sort of streaky effect. Let me do it again on the next one down. As I say, don't use the actual wash itself, because otherwise it tends to be a little bit thick and stands out a little bit too much. So we'll just do it down there, okay, and then we'll just drag it down, one pass only, and you get that sort of drawn streak dirt effect. So we're just going to go for a few spots down here on the lower one as well, like that. Okay, let me just do that, and you get that sort of where the hydraulics come out. So we just do a few more little ones here and there, just with the brown. Now the brown gives it that sort of stainy colour, and obviously it will dry a lot flatter than the surface. Even though we're on a flat coat here, it will dry a lot lighter, and it looks like that. So I hope you can see it. I don't know actually how well you can see it on the camera, but it looks very good here. Then what you can do, if you wanted to, just clean the brush. If you take a little bit of black wash that you might have floating around, give it some mix. This is the one where we used for the thing. Then all we do is just going to go little tiny dots, nothing too much, let the capillary action sort of drag it down those lines, just like so, like that. And then same thing with your cotton bud, just streak it down just like that. Now this is the way I do it at the moment. Later on in life we've actually got something coming along that's going to do this for you, but that's something in the future that we're developing at the moment, that I'll hopefully be quite excited about at the end of the summer. So you can do this type of thing with a pencil, which will give you that same effect. Same thing with a wash. You don't like it, it washes off, but this is a little secret between you and me, because nobody knows about this yet. So this is a bit of an exclusive for you, but it will be out at the end of the year, and it's a pencil that literally you can just sharpen like a normal pencil, but it's got our wash inside it. It's a solid version of our clay-based wash. Right, there you go. This is the new, basically, the pencil where it works. Now if you imagine, if you've seen the wife's eyeliner pencil, it's like that. It's extremely soft. But what you actually can do, you can then just do this, scoop it in how you want it, like an area like that, and then you can just, and it dirties it up just like that, and you can wet the pencil if you like, just like that, make a mark, okay, and then you can do this, and it's absolutely great for this type of thing. So all you do, just like that. There we go, and then all you do is rub down, and you'll get effects like that. And it's great because you can literally go anywhere, and because it's the same as our pencil, our wash, you can just wash it off. But obviously, everybody who subscribes will get one of these at a vastly discounted price, and well before anybody else gets it. But they should be out at the end of the sort of summer, really. We're hoping sort of August, about September, October time, I think. But literally, it's very straightforward. You colour in almost with your pencil, and you can drag it down. So if I show you like this vent grid, as you can see, you get that. So with the vent grid, you just come in here, put loads of it in the vent grid, wet your cotton bud, you see, and you can do that just like that, and you get that lovely sort of dirty effect. Sorry, wrong way. Like that, and you can dirty up all these areas as you go, just like that, and then here we go, and we get that nice sort of dirty effect on the bottom end there that the F-15s get. But there you go, don't tell anyone about that, it's all a secret at the moment. But that'll be coming out. It's going to be called the weathering pencil, and it'll be great because you can use it for exhausts, for gun barrels, for this type of thing, things on, any way you can imagine. Any way you use the wash, you can use the pencil as well. But that's just a quick little thing just for you and no video. Okay, so the next big point is getting it up on its gear. Now, usually it's very straightforward, but with these you've got flattened wheels. So the way I do it, if you get a little bit of glue, put it on the axle like your liquid cement or anything, as long as it's not a quick drying glue. Obviously you don't want to CA glue or anything else like that. Okay, then place your wheels on and roughly put them in the right place. Just pop these wheels on here, so I have to be a bit more careful on these because of, obviously my undercarriage isn't fixed, yours will be. And then we just do the same on the other one. Like so. Okay, then all we do, turn it over and stand it up, and then obviously have a look at those wheels and see how they're actually standing, and make sure they're all flat. So obviously you can't see this, and obviously your undercarriage will be attached where mine isn't. So just get it all flat down and make sure the flats of your wheels are all flat, and then what you can do, because they're soft, you should be able to rock it back and forth to get it all in position, just like that. So there we go, that's on. We've got the tail fins, which we can pop on now, and we almost are there. We've just got a few little bits and pieces to do. I've already done these, and I know I shouldn't have been a bit of a naughty boy, but I've already actually done the lights because I needed it to dry overnight. And I was going to show you how I did it, but it's quite straightforward anyway. Literally all I do, you take a thin brush, I use Tamiya clears, and I do it all by hand. Just place it in and then drag down, do the top half, let it dry, come back, do the underside, and do it like that. But as you can see, we're certainly there. We've just got to install the seats now, and obviously we've got to put the targeting pods underneath, but we're just literally just moments away from completion. Okay, so our next point that we're going to be doing here is installing obviously things like wing pylons. We've got the targeting pods here that go into the chin of the F-15. Now, little quick tip for you, if you use one of these, this is a Phillips head screwdriver, quite a small one, it's like a watchmaker's one type thing. What you actually do is you can round out the hole slightly, just to give it the more flush look. So what you do, you pop it in the hole, literally just like that, and give it a swivel backwards and forwards, and what you'll do is you'll make a little cup shape in there, and it'll make it a very nice flush fit. Just give it a rub with your finger, just like that. Now, remembering which is your left and right, I think the thinner one always goes to the outside. It should, in theory, should just fit in there. That's it. Actually, the pegs are the right diameter, and it will sit in there just like that. So that can be glued, and check your holes are all okay. Needs to be made a little bit bigger. So all we'll do, we'll go in there and we'll just open that up a bit. But by doing it this way, check it off a bit. That's it. Just need a tiny bit out of there, but we'll do that in a moment. And then if you use your liquid glue, put a drop of liquid glue, let it halfway melt, and then install it. It's got enough grip to hold it there, and then you can just weld it up, and that's it, job done. So it's quite a straightforward thing there. So we'll get the hard points now. Okay, so we're into final assembly, and one little area I was thinking about is obviously the photos show to have these types of things, these little FOD covers which push into the actual air intakes. Now the thing was, I was having a think about it, the best way of doing it, and obviously you can buy FOD covers, the kit does come with one, but they're not actually the ones they use these days. So all I did was slide out that bit of foam we had in there, used it as a template, made it a little bit smaller because obviously the one we poked in there to prevent overspray getting in was a little bit big, and I made these, and all it is, it's those foams we were saying, quite a close, not a very porous one, quite a close sponge. Put some orange paint, just got it like this, literally just got that, soaked it on, let it soak into it a little bit, just like that, and then I put some stripes on with just some black acrylic paint, and I'm currently letting them dry. Now they're going to take a little bit to dry. There is some decals that go on, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to see how it fits and how it goes in, and if it all goes well, what I might actually do is try and fit the decal to it as well. But it depends. If they're going to stay in there forevermore, it'd work lovely. If you're going to be pulling them in and out, I think they'd crack and slowly dissolve. But that's the thing. But I just thought there was a nice little touch, and I'll show you that. But basically, if you can see here, we've just got a few parts drying. The seats are installed in there now. The canopy back here is done. I've just got it's all got to be attached and in. But we're in there somewhat like that. We've just got the step to go in now, but everything is in there. The pylons we're not going to have fitted, so obviously we can see that lovely tiger stripe pattern. We're not actually going to put that on yet, but the next time you'll see it, hopefully we'll all be done. So okay, we're all finished, all done. We've just put the final bits and pieces on. Obviously the canopy is on. We've got the boarding ladder, pitot tubes, bits and pieces like that. Haven't put the hard points on yet. This is going to be at the customer's discretion. Obviously it's very straightforward, they just click in. I hope I explained it all well. I hope I explained the cockpit part well. One quick thing to mention, I didn't at the time, it slipped my mind. When you're putting the cockpit halves together, when you're using any type of resin cockpit inside, make sure, get your clear part, or in this case it has a hard plastic part as well, and make sure that the canopy fits over the top, and i.e. it hasn't splayed open too much, so it actually will fit on top, so that's the main thing. Apart from that, been a fantastic build, thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Join me next time. This is Philip Flory saying happy modelling.